The year is 2026. In Europe, an economic storm is brewing. No, it's not a war. It's not a natural disaster either. It's a slow-motion collapse, years in the making, that's now too big to ignore. But here's the kicker. Most people still don't see it coming. Is Europe about to implode, or will it just keep stumbling along? Stick with me. The truth is a lot darker than you'd expect. In fact, some would say Europe's economic crisis is not just inevitable, it's already happening, one quiet, unnoticed step at a time. A crumbling legacy. Europe has always been the gold standard. From its unmatched cultural heritage to its economic muscle, it's been the world's biggest player. But now the cracks are showing. Growth rates are slowing, debt is climbing, and political gridlock? Well, it's choking everything. What happened to the Europe we once admired? It's not just an economic hiccup anymore. The core of Europe's financial system, once the bedrock of stability, is breaking down. Governments can't seem to agree on anything. The cracks aren't just economic, they're ideological. The EU was built on unity, but today it feels like it's being held together with duct tape and expired glue. But why does this matter now? Because everything, from your job to your investments, hinges on Europe figuring this out. If Europe stumbles, the entire world could be sent into a tailspin. The debt time bomb. Let's talk about Europe's debt. It's more than just numbers, it's an existential crisis. Europe's national debt is already beyond astronomical. Greece, Italy, France, these countries owe more money than any economy can handle, and it's growing every day. It's easy to see this debt as just a series of economic missteps, but the real issue, the problem, is a ticking time bomb. By 2026, Europe's total debt is standing at over 100% of its GDP, and there's no clear path to resolving it. The massive debt load is like a balloon continually inflated. At some point, it will pop. So what's the solution? More borrowing, of course, but that only digs the hole deeper. There's no emergency brake on this runaway train. The fragile euro. And what about the euro? The currency that was supposed to unite Europe is increasingly becoming its Achilles heel. Once a symbol of financial strength, the euro is now showing signs of fragility. It's been losing value against the dollar for years. For every step forward, it seems to take 2 steps back. The European Central Bank has tried to prop it up with everything from negative interest rates to massive bond buying programs. But here's the problem. They're running out of tools. And worse, the efforts aren't working. Countries like Italy and Spain are in financial distress. Germany, the economic powerhouse, is struggling too. So what's the solution? Maybe just print more money? But history shows that's a slippery slope. The euro is a house of cards, and the wind is picking up. The real question, will it survive, or will we see countries try to abandon it, fracturing the entire EU in the process? The demographic time clock. Europe's demographic time bomb is ticking louder than ever. By 2030, nearly 1 in 3 Europeans will be over 60. Let that sink in. As the birth rate drops and life expectancy rises, Europe is facing an aging population with no plan to support it. This is a disaster waiting to unfold. Fewer people working, fewer people paying taxes, and more people drawing pensions. It's the perfect storm for an economic implosion. By 2030, Europe could have a massive pension deficit. The younger generations are getting squeezed. They'll be asked to carry the financial burden of a population that's getting older, more expensive, and less productive. So what's the solution? Raise taxes, cut benefits? Both? The truth is, Europe can't afford to ignore this much longer, but every time leaders are faced with the choice, they pass the problem down the line. The system is unsustainable. The political paralysis. And then there's the politics. Europe is supposed to be a union, right? Well, it's looking more like a house divided. Populism is on the rise, and nationalism is taking root across the continent. Countries like Hungary, Poland, and Italy are increasingly at odds with Brussels. And why? Because the EU's one-size-fits-all approach is falling apart. At the core of it all is political paralysis. Leaders are more focused on retaining power than solving the real issues. And the average citizen? They're caught in the middle of a never-ending fight between the political elites and a disillusioned population. The EU's great experiment of unity is collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions. The fact is, the EU is no longer a beacon of stability. It's a battleground. And unless there's real change, it may not survive the next decade. The Stagnation Trap. Let's face it, Europe is stagnating. What's left of its economy isn't growing. In fact, it's shrinking. The once unstoppable economies of Germany, France, and Spain are now at a standstill. They're struggling to keep up with global competitors like the US and China. GDP growth is slow, inflation is rampant, and wages aren't rising. The richest people, they're fine, but the middle class is feeling the pain. Wages are flat, jobs are less secure, and people are getting frustrated. Meanwhile, the political elites keep promising recovery, but the truth is, the economy is stuck in neutral. What's going to change this? It's not just about more money, it's about rethinking Europe's economic model, but no one has the guts to challenge the status quo. The inflation machine. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Inflation. It's quietly eating away at people's savings. Central banks print more money, hoping to stimulate the economy, but here's the catch. The more they print, the less value money has. Prices rise, people feel poorer. The wealthy, they've got assets to protect them. The middle class, they're getting squeezed out. This isn't just economic mismanagement, it's a system rigged to benefit the rich. The foundation of Europe's economy is built on cheap money, and it's crumbling fast. No one's addressing the underlying issue. The economic structure is fundamentally flawed. The global domino. And the real kicker, Europe isn't just in trouble internally. Its problems are a global problem. Europe is a massive trading partner for the US, China, and emerging markets. If Europe falls, the world feels it. A global recession, a crash in the stock markets, the euro's value plummeting. Europe's financial collapse could send shockwaves around the globe. Everyone's watching Europe now, but no one has a solution. And when Europe finally falls, no one will be able to pick up the pieces.
Now I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Europe can still fix this, or is it already too late? Let me know what you think in the comments. I read every comment and I personally reply. And if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe for more videos like this.